There's new leadership in the city council. Nantasha Williams of Queens now serves as Deputy Speaker. We talk with the Democrat about the council's action plan. Plus, Stanley Richards of the Fortune Society also joins us in studio. Why he joined Mayor Mamdani at Jacoby Hospital to promote the Just Home project. And later, we switch gears and take a spin back in time when the music died at CBGB. We also remember Dr. Gerald Dees, a legend in Southeast Queens. All that and so much more happening now on In Focus. Let's begin today's program with Queens Council member and Deputy Speaker Nantasha Williams. It's great to have you here.
It's so good to be here, as always.
Yes, and you are starting the new year off with new leadership position. You have been, you know, we talked about this off camera. You were appointed Deputy Speaker, but there was also a vote among your peers.
Yes, it was also a vote amongst my peers. So very thankful to Speaker Menin for her trust in my leadership, but also my colleagues who voted me in.
And so what specific initiatives or changes do you plan to champion in your new capacity as Deputy Speaker?
Well, first and foremost, I certainly want to make sure that I am supporting the agenda of Speaker Menin, but in that agenda, so many bold ideas around supporting our homeowners. That's important to me. I'm wanting to make sure that our legislative strategy makes sense, that it's accountable to the people. Budget equity is something that's really important to me, and wanting to work with our finance chair, Linda Lee, to make sure that we are truly a council that's responsive to the people.
And you mentioned budget equity. What exactly does that mean?
So I've actually been a part of a work group for over a year with local elected officials across the country, thinking about ways to make local government more equitable. And this isn't just along demographic lines, but also geographic lines. Are we spending the same amount of money on our sanitation budget as we are in Manhattan versus Staten Island? Are we also making the budget transparent? Right now, if anybody in New York City wanted to figure out how we spend our money, you would have to dig into thousands of pages of spreadsheets versus a user-friendly dashboard or website that tells you exactly where New York City is spending its money. And most importantly, is the budget process accessible? Do New Yorkers have the ability to chime in, opine, criticize our budget? And a lot of those things could certainly use more work in New York City.
Yeah, and I assume that's why you're collaborating with the council's first ever chief equity officer, right?
Yes, and again, Speaker Menin has been really focused on ensuring that this council continues to be the most diverse council within our body, of course, but how we do our work externally for New Yorkers. And this is the first ever chief equity officer, also Deputy Chief of Staff Simone Jones. And I'm really excited to work with her across the council's work. So whether it's, again, within budget, our legislation, how we engage with the community, to make sure that all the things we do internally and externally really focus on equity and accountability.
Now, I want to switch gears a little bit. You're the face of leadership in the city council now, in City Hall writ large. And now people are looking to you, to Madam Speaker, and of course the mayor, about what is being done to protect immigrants in New York City. They are worried. They live in fear of ICE. They are losing federal benefits, as we know. What's your message to immigrants? And you're from the world's borough, Queens.
Yes, my message to immigrants, and we recently had an issue in the council where one of our staffers was swept up by ICE, and we're doing everything in our power to ensure that he is safely returned. But our message has been very consistent. Actually, last year we passed a whole bunch of bills seeking to curb ICE control in our city and continue to protect New Yorkers as a sanctuary city. So we just want to continue to do that in close partnership with Mayor Mamdani. I think our former mayor, although while I have personal fond feelings of him, wasn't always a good partner, especially around this issue of immigration.
And give us an update on that city council staffer who is now in custody. I know all you and your colleagues, many of you stood on the steps of City Hall saying enough is enough. Give us an update on that situation.
So as far as I know right now, the council, again, due to the leadership of Speaker Menin, was able to secure legal counsel. So I know we have been in, the speaker has been in conversations to make sure that they're doing all that they can to make sure that we can get him out of that situation. So no specific updates, but I do know that we were able to secure legal representation for him.
Yeah, this crisis really hit home
Yes.
for all of you. You know, we're going to take a break. When we come back, you are prepping for your State of the District address. And I want you to speak to your residents, your constituents in District 27 in Southeast Queens, because they have a lot of things they want to hear from you. So we're going to try to address that after the break. Stay with us. Deputy Speaker Nantasha Williams will stick with us. And when we come back,
now please join me in welcoming Stanley Richards.
Mayor Mamdani and Stanley Richards of the Fortune Society joined forces to announce a first-of-its-kind housing initiative to serve formerly incarcerated New Yorkers. Mr. Richards will join us in studio later to tell us all about Just Home.
Blocked sidewalks, narrowed streets, safety risk, and families feeling like their neighborhoods are being taken over by parked trucks.
Yeah, that's new Deputy Speaker Nantasha Williams talking about quality of life issues for residents in her district in Southeast Queens last June. Thanks for staying with us as we continue our conversation with the Deputy Speaker. So I want to give you an opportunity to address those pressing issues in Southeast Queens. You're going to hold your State of the District address on February 7th.
Yes.
That's a Saturday. And let's start with what you were saying there. Many homeowners are ticked off with trucks parked on residential streets, and they make their grievances known to your office. What's being done about it?
Absolutely. So I actually passed a bill last year where we are seeking to find creative solutions for parking. So the truth of the matter is New York City does not have the infrastructure to properly house trucks who are not moving along our city. And we know that trucks are very important to our economy. They deliver goods and services, products, but they need a place to park. And so coming up with creative solutions to find places for them to park so they aren't a nuisance in the community is the bill that I passed. But we have many quality of life issues.
Right.
Illegal dumping is an issue.
Right.
Speeding is an issue. You know, making sure you don't have people randomly working on a car and the side of your block is an issue. And so I'm really excited for all that we've been able to do, and most importantly, all that I will do in my final term. And that's what my State of the District is about. Here's where we've been, and here's a roadmap to where I feel we are going in my final term to really address so many of the very complex issues that are hard to address around quality of life.
Let's pivot to public safety. Tragically, there were a number of shootings in Southeast Queens. Last year, 13-year-old Sanjay Samuel was shot in the head while walking to school on September 22nd. A 16-year-old is charged with his murder. What's your message to members of your district who are afraid for their children's safety?
One of the things that I've been working on in partnership with Superintendent Van S, who is the superintendent of our high schools, is talking to our young people. So many of the conversations around public safety do not involve them. And it's really important to understand what is the driver, how they feel about it, what they think is the best ways to address safety. I always feel like people who are closest to the problem are closest to the solution. And right now we have a situation with a rise in violence of our young people. And it's so tragic because you don't just lose the person who unfortunately tragically gets killed. You also lose often the young person who committed the crime. And so you have two young Black boys who are now gone. And we really need to do more about that group of young people. It seems like after elementary school, no one cares about what they're doing. There's not a lot of resources and support when I think about summer youth employment, when I think about after school programming and places for young people just to go. None of that exists. I remember when I was in high school, there was open gyms. I can't tell you where an open gym is in my district. And so two things. One, we really need to start having young people be a part of the conversation because I truly believe they have the answers. And number two, we really need to make comprehensive investments in that demographic, 12 to 18. 12 to 24, 13, that demographic is totally absent of a lot of the investments that are really needed.
Well, now you have the power to get it done, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, you do. And what's your plan to support small businesses in Southeast Queens? They are really struggling with inflation and all of the fees from having a business.
So I love that you asked me that question, because I will again credit Speaker Menin, who's one of her critical priorities is small businesses, and some of the things she's done and wants to continue to do is exactly in the realm of what you just mentioned. We as a city incur a lot of costs to small businesses. They're already dealing with a very tough economic environment, and then we tack on additional complexities. And so really figuring out ways to limit and eradicate some of those complexities that we force onto small businesses are some of the things that the council is looking to do. And also figuring out ways similar to how we need to support our young people. What are those investments that need to happen for our small businesses to thrive? How can we address the many issues that they have when it comes to curing a violation? Again, as another example of something that the city does that causes harm to our small businesses.
I have 30 seconds, but I want to give you a chance to acknowledge the loss of a beloved resident and your beloved doctor. Dr. Dees passed away last weekend. Dr. Gerald Dees, he did so much for Southeast Queens.
Yes, so, you know, I represent an amazing district that has so much legacy, and Dr. Dees was one of our true pioneers in the community, and I know I speak for the entire Southeast Queens family when we express our sincere condolences, and I will want to make sure that I do everything in my power to keep up his legacy, because it's truly important.
Keep his legacy alive.
Yes.
Okay, well, listen, thanks for coming. Congratulations on being voted as Deputy Speaker, and we'll see you again. It's Queens Council Member and Deputy Speaker Nantasha Williams. Thanks for being here. Time for another break. In Focus continues right after this. And now, a flashback from our New York One archives. October 15th, 2006, some 20 years ago, the final curtain for the birthplace of punk rock. Fans packed 315 Bowery in the East Village for the last show at CBGB. The beloved club had been the incubator for underground music for 3 decades.
Now I want to spit some blues.
In 1974, the Ramones played their first gig here, launching a music revolution. The rockers from Forest Hills helped put CBGB on the map, and there was one rule here. Bands had to play original material. During the 1970s, CBGB, short for Country, Blues, Grass, and Blues, rolled out the welcome mat for newbies like Talking Heads. And before Rapture made her famous, Debbie Harry and Blondie also graced the stage. And Patti Smith was a foundational artist here with her music poetry. And it was fitting that she performed the final show. The club lost its lease as gentrification robbed Lower Manhattan of its gritty low-rent spaces.
It's so hot in here, hot like Sahara.
The dude who owns it, Muzzy Rosenblatt, he feels that CBGB's isn't really giving to the community and it's not paying what it should pay for this property.
I heard that their lease is up and they wanted to raise the rent, and the rent was significantly more money.
The people that's going to come into the neighborhood, they don't like punk. Come on. They don't like punk.
Well, today, a fashion designer occupies 315 Bowery, but this colorful mural of Blondie reminds passersby of the music history that happened here more than a generation ago. Bowery and East 2nd Street, now co-named Joey Ramone Place, for the lead singer who died in 2001. CBGB's legacy lives on, that spiritual home for bands who rocked to the beat of their own drum, making Bowery the loudest street in the world.
And on this day, when we come together to lift up just home, it is a moment for me of reflection and appreciation.
That's Stanley Richards, President and CEO of the Fortune Society, alongside Mayor Mamdani at Jacoby Hospital last week. Mr. Richards is here now to talk about the Just Home Project. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure to have you on this program. On King Day, you joined the mayor at Jacoby Hospital to applaud the Just Home Project. How does this align with the Fortune Society's mission of supporting individuals impacted by the justice system?
You know, we served 18,000 people, over 18,000 people last year, 8,000 new people. 25% of them at intake report being unstably housed. If we're talking about reentry, we're talking about redemption and second chances. We got to give people a place to live, to become stable. And so Just Home is a reflection of that commitment to helping people transition from jail into the community by way of stable, permanent housing.
And that's the big thing that we need in this city right now.
Absolutely.
What gaps does Just Home fill in the city's housing crisis?
So in the total population of people who are coming home from jail and prison, in New York City, we have over 70,000 people with criminal convictions. There's a small population of people who have complex medical needs, who are homeless, and who have a touch point with the criminal justice system. What systems do they use? They use some of the most expensive systems in the city. Hospitalizations when they don't need to be hospitalized because shelters can't care for them. Cycling between shelters and jails. And so Just Home is targeting a very unique population, formerly incarcerated people with complex medical needs.
Do you view the Just Home model as scalable? Could it, starting at Jacoby, could it potentially spread across the city?
Absolutely. Fortune's been doing reentry housing since 2002. We have a proven model both on our emergency and transitional housing and on our permanent supportive housing. Focusing on this population will allow us to scale this model, not only in New York City, New York State, and throughout the country. It is about how do we care for some of our city's most vulnerable people and care for them in a way that allows them to live in dignity and stability.
And now, Mr. Richards, this is personal for you, right? Not only were you born at Jacoby Hospital, right, but you are formerly incarcerated yourself, and you've dedicated your time and talents to helping those who are stuck in the system. Explain why this is so personal.
Oh, this is personal, and I call this a full circle moment. In 1961, I was born in Jacoby Hospital. My brother and sister was born in Jacoby. My oldest son was born in Jacoby. My mother passed at Jacoby.
Wow.
So Jacoby has been part of my life and part of my community, both the joyous times of birth and the time when I lost my mother. And so to be in partnership with Health and Hospitals and this administration to bring hope to people who cycle through the system, who have been forgotten and isolated, who have been demonized by the worst moment in their life, to be in this moment to give Jacoby the seed of hope for those who are coming home is a full circle moment. It was a seed of hope for my family when I was born, and it'll be a seed of hope for the men and women who are living in this building, have permanent stable housing.
And this was a long time coming, right? It didn't happen overnight. This was a lot of hard work. What, about 10 years you've been working on this?
Health and Hospitals have been working at this on 10 years because they have been seeing this population cycling through their medical system and cycling through the shelter system with no way of providing the kind of care and support they need. So what did the city end up doing? Using, again, some of the most expensive parts of our system to care for them. Hospitalization when they don't really need to be hospitalized, but there's no place to discharge them to. Rikers Island, because they can't get discharged to a shelter, case adjudicated. What do we do with them? And so they made a commitment to create a model that allows them to live in dignity when they get released from jails. And I am thankful for Dr. Katz and his administration to be doing this.
And very quickly, how many people will be in this first phase at Jacoby?
So this building will have 83 units. And in all of our buildings, we provide housing for the population we serve, and we keep in mind that we need to be a resource for the community. So 58 of the units will be for formerly incarcerated people with complex medical needs, and 24 units will be for the community. We're going to be working with HPD to do a community preference. So community members who need studio appointments will be able to apply and get prioritized.
Well, great way to start 2026. Congratulations on
Thank
finally
you.
getting it done. Always good to see you. Stanley Richards, President and CEO of the Fortune Society. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And now, our final focus, a prominent doctor from Queens being remembered.
I'm Dr. Gerald Dees from the Health Center at Downstate Medical Center.
Oh, he was always camera ready. Dr. Gerald Dees died on January 18th, his family confirming the news. For generations, the physician served residents in Southeast Queens, often making house calls. He also taught at SUNY Downstate.
Really, when I tell you, we are addicted to sodas of all colors.
During the 1980s and 90s, he collaborated with the late journalist Bill McCreary, hosting a popular TV segment called House Calls, where he was a tireless advocate for community wellness and health equity. Born and raised in Brooklyn, Dr. Dees attended Boys High School and later Brooklyn College. He also formed Doctors Against Murder to teach young people at risk to reject violence. He's survived by his wife, Beverly. They were married 67 years. Dr. Gerald Dees was 94 years old.